So, Alex, I know that so many people in this community have FOMO when it comes to my live streams because they're super concerned that they're not going to be invited to be on my live streams with us, or b they're going to miss out while I'm live. Watching it in the archives is nice, but it doesn't have the same organic feeling, you know. So I know that I'm not the one who coined the term FOMO. When was the first time you've ever heard FOMO?
Just now.
Just now. Well, that's awesome, dude. So it's a fear of missing out.
Yeah, man.
Is Luca friends Abby West, Luca?
Yeah, it's
Nathan. Okay. What's up, Nathan? So we're being trolled on my son's friends.
Nice. No, you definitely do not want to miss a live Zombie Collector chat because
I know. I feel like I'm kind of like, now that Larry King's no longer with us, I feel like I might be able to take that spot, you know?
I think so, especially after all the questions you've been asking lately.
I know. I mean, I probably need to drop about 80 pounds and turn Jewish, but it is possible.
Right. In fact, I got a text from Reese today giving a recap on the last chat. So I think we need some more hard-hitting questions in here. I'm ready.
Wow, dude, you guys are really brave, dude. I'm surprised. I am pretty surprised, to be honest with you. Hey, what up, everybody? You know, hey, somebody who's not scared of hard-hitting questions?
Oh, this guy.
This guy right here, right?
I have a feeling we're going to be looking at some Bowman cards.
Yeah.
You know what I do when Zombie Collector asks me tough questions? I look at some baseball cards. That's right. Right.
That's a
now,
good
the last time I was on here, I was getting harassed for my scarf, you know. But what happened was, because I wasn't wearing the scarf. So I live in South, it got a little cold, but not really cold enough for a jacket. And we went down to eat, and I had my scarf around my neck. So on the way home, you kept texting me, let's go live. And I was like 20 minutes out. So I literally ran through the front door and up to my computer to jump on. And I still had my scarf, and everybody's busting my chops.
Yeah, you're like Harry Potter with your scarf out there, John.
Man, the rest everybody on this live chat needs to be wearing, something nice moving forward. I mean, Jason, you had your blazer on the other day, so I
mean, like, oh, there it is. There's the glove, the infamous white glove. So, but I mean, like, the thing with John is, when you go to a John Mangini video, it could be literally anything when you click the go button. You know, when you click on it, he could be wearing a suit and tie. He could be wearing like workout clothes. He could be wearing one glove. He could be wearing a scarf. He could have Lou Piniella. He could have Lou Piniella there. You know, you just never know what might happen when you hit the go to the Mangini collection. You know?
Yeah, maybe I should get some fingerless gloves next.
Right, yeah. Like you're like some homeless person with the fingerless gloves, you know?
Yeah, look what I got today. I'm pretty stoked to finally get one.
Oh,
I never had one.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, and I got this Matty Alou, and this is the only one PSA ever graded. It's a minor league card.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
In 1960, his rookies in 61. Pretty stoked.
Oh, man.
Oh, very cool.
Wow, that is awesome, dude. Oh, we got Rick in here. We got Ray. We got Reese. We got Pele. Now, did you just show that in a video recently? Or is that brand new?
I showed these cards on my last video. I just did.
Okay. I was like, oh, no. I feel like I saw those, but that's awesome. But
when I get new cards, I can't rest until I show them. No, I was just going to say I can't rest until I show them. I'm so excited to get them.
Well, of course. I mean, Alex was so excited. He went on Facebook and showed everybody his ball he bought. I mean, he was like showing it. He was so excited to show everybody. There it is.
Yeah. This is I'm not sure what year, but it's definitely from the 50s. Spalding.
Nice. What up, Don? What up, Jesse? I was gonna ask you real quick. So somebody I think there's a guy in my group text I have with a few guys, John, and they said that there was I don't know if you saw last year, but Snoop did a video where he lost his mind on the community, right? And then they did like a remake of it this past weekend, and Alex was a part of it. Now, Alex could probably appreciate this. I don't know about you, but in the 1960s, Alfred Hitchcock did a movie called Psycho. And then in 1998, Gus Van Sant made Psycho, the exact movie, shot for shot, but with a whole different cast. But the exact same movie. Not a single thing was different. So they did the same thing, essentially, this past weekend with the Snoop video. Now, the reason I set this up was because for you, John, if you watched it, you stay to the very end where Dave throws a little curveball at you by saying, there's guys like John Mangini out there who says every card he has is rare.
Yeah, I almost referenced it today. When I first watched that, I was because he's right. I mean, he's right. You know, I'm always like, this is rare. This is rare. And I was laughing when I watched it. I made my wife and my daughter watch that video. It was so entertaining. The first time I watched it, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, this is just like, I said, this is just like that old Snoop video. And I didn't realize what was going on. And I wasn't used to seeing Rick from Vintage Oddball Cards talk like that.
Man,
I know.
That was I think everybody agreed that was like their favorite part. Like Rick was like totally in the zone doing that thing. Like I was like, oh my God, I think Rick actually is pissed off.
Yeah. And Silver Jackify, he couldn't help but laugh. I got a kick out of that. But the best two things was Dave at the end. He was funny. And when he was talking about me, he's like, he does kung fu for God's sakes, or something like that. and then when Snoop came on at the very end and said, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, like, and to answer your question, Reese, it's who did it? Was it on Canadian Cards channel?
Yeah, Canadian Cards. Yeah, Canadian Cards.
I don't watch Canadian Cards, but that's where the link was given to us in our group text. And that's where you can go. I think it's the only video he has up the last couple of days. I could be wrong, but I know he just posted it like on Saturday. So it's definitely worth it. But if you have kids, you don't want to have that video playing very loud because it's you might want to have earmuffs.
Yeah, I played it for my wife and my grown daughter.
Well, your daughter's in college. She's not like she's 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that part with Rick cussing was like. It's very jarring because Rick is not like that, you know.
I know it's like I don't know. It's like seeing your grandma naked or something.
Right? No kidding. Yeah, that I didn't know that was coming because I figured like I was really surprised, kind of your point, because Alex told us. Alex made a point of this, and Mark and a few other guys were saying, hey, there's a collab video that's going to be coming up that we did. And when then they said it was referencing Snoop's video, I'm thinking, and then they said some of the people that were involved, and I'm like, every one of these people that I can think of, almost all of them really don't cuss in any of their videos. And Snoop's rant is like every 5 seconds there's an F-bomb somewhere in it. So I'm like, some of these people, how are they going to get around not cussing? And like, the answer was they didn't. They didn't get around it. So yeah, it was crazy. Oh man. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
So I was 25 or 26. My grandfather was a pretty good golfer, avid golfer. And when I was 25 or 26, I heard him drop the F-bomb for the first time ever on the golf course. And that's kind of how I felt with Rick. Like I had never heard him swear before. And it was it took me back.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, he looked so angry, like y'all were saying, like he would like have the scowl on his face. He's like looking and pointing, and I was like, oh my God. It's like I can imagine if you caught him on a bad day, if you're his kid or whatever, you probably don't come back from that one. That was pretty potent. So
yeah, he looks like he could have that in him. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure.
But let's talk.
So
Jason.
I know that.
let's talk about your nunchuck skills that you put on display.
Yeah, I don't do that for everybody. So, yeah, the funny thing is, I was going through my closet because I was looking for a mitten, or a glove or a mitten or something, and I'm like, man, Luca has like 1,000 mittens or gloves because as a kid, you bundle your kid up to go to school or to go outside to play. Well, over the years, I just got rid of all that stuff. So I was looking through my closet if I had maybe a stray a glove laying around. So then I was like, as I was looking, I found those nunchucks he had when he was like 5 years old. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is golden. So I was like, if no one else appreciates this, John will appreciate this. But I was like, you don't want to see a 200+ Jason in front of the camera flipping around the nunchucks because not only is that embarrassing for me, that's embarrassing for everybody. So I was like, I'll just put my hand out there and whip it out. And then as I was getting up from finding the nunchucks, I found my overcoat, my jacket. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like John wears a jacket on like a third of his videos because he's like coming back from a hot date or night at the office or whatever he's doing, Cause him, when people don't pay up, like with the mafia, he's cutting off fingers and sending them out, whatever. So I was like, this is awesome. I got to wear this jacket. So yeah, well, it was a good time.
I was surprised to see that your son had nunchucks, because I mean, in the modern world, I don't think they're allowed to sell those anymore, are they? Like they're trying to.
Well, I mean, they're not really wood nunchucks either, like you said. But the thing is, back in the day, Luca would he would watch like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he had like a Donatello staff, and he had the size, and he had the nunchucks. So, and of course, I was always the one that he was trying to kill. So I got destroyed by nunchucks many a time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I was gonna ask you, Alex. So, what do you think about do you think this thing with Mike Canadian Cards? Do you see this collaboration thing going to other situations because of how well it was received, or do you think this is like a one-off thing?
I mean, I kind of thought it was a one-off thing, but I mean, the cool thing I think is like the way that he was able to pull a whole bunch of people to do it, and it's got to be a one-off thing because it's got to be something that everybody knows about and that everybody enjoyed, or like it's like, okay, I'm never going to forget that day. That like I remember when that video was first posted by Snoop, like I was at work actually, and I like had to step out of my office. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a thing. And like I still remember, like how many YouTube videos do you remember like where you were when you watched it? Like not many, I think. So
right.
I kind of feel like it was a one-time thing, but the way that he was able to pull everybody together to do it, I thought was awesome. And
I mean, I think that you're gonna have you're gonna have the Challenger, 9/11, and Snoop's rant video. And it's like, where were you when this happened?
Yeah. and the OJ Bronco too. I remember.
Yeah.
Right, the OJ Bronco as he's driving 50 miles an hour on the highway.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I was at one of those clubs where they have like the 75-cent beers or whatever. It was a BFW. And I remember somebody turning the channel. They caught wind of it, and we all sat there and drank and watched the Bronco chase all night.
So I'm going to ask you, John, real quick. So 26 days, I think, if I'm not mistaken, before pitchers and catchers show up for spring training. So are you pretty excited about this year? And if you are, maybe what are some things you're looking forward to this coming year with baseball? Since I feel like it's probably always on your mind anyways.
Me? I haven't thought about it much, because hockey just started. So you're watching the playoffs,
so sorry.
Football playoffs, and I'm kind of excited for hockey. Because you know what happened is I got Sling TV, and I had no idea that the hockey package is on there. So I get to watch all these hockey games now.
Nice.
And they also have the Major League Baseball network on there. Oh, and cool. So I'm watching like old documentaries of some of the old World Series, stuff like that. Programming on there.
I might have to look into that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna need Alex's credit card, and I'll probably purchase that myself.
Sure, man, no problem.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't follow all the young players too much. I think that people get real excited, that do the prospecting and kind of read that what's that called, Baseball Americana or whatever, that features all the young players coming up. And so
Sure, yeah.
you got that going on, and then of course teams that have picked up some star players. It's always exciting. If you're in San Diego, and Manny Machado comes or something like that. But when you're in Pittsburgh, we're the team that sends all our good players to those other teams. So really, like when we watch early in the season, we just watch to see how bad they're actually going to be. And
Right, how bad?
Did you just fall?
I almost did.
Yeah, we all, when you're a Pirates fan.
Oh shoot!
You're doing somersaults.
I know.
So when you're a Pirates fan,
I'll do whatever it takes for the likes and the subs. So you were saying, John, about Pirates fans.
When you're a Pirates fan, you hope you can go 2-0 or whatever, and then you call each other and say, celebrate that you're undefeated, and that might be the last game you win.
Oh my God.
Last time you're in first place for the rest of the year.
So let me ask you this then: did you see that they just sent Jameson Taillon to where? Yankees? Was that who they sent him to?
Yeah, Yankees.
So does the Pirates even?
Why not?
Right.
I mean, why not? Everybody
at this point
goes.
John, is there another team that you have followed in over the years besides Pirates?
Yeah, when in the 70s, I was a big Red Machine fan.
Right.
And then I've always been an LA Dodgers fan. That was always my second team. So I've followed them more than any other team other than the Pirates.
All right. Well, man, at least you have something that's like not as depressing. That's good.
I don't know why I'm a Dodger fan. I don't know. They just had some good teams over the years. When I was growing up, they had Davey Lopes and Bill Russell and Ron Say. Who was man? I'm drawing a blank. Steve Yeager behind the plate, and they had some good pitchers. Tommy John, Don Sutton, those kind of guys. Fernando Valenzuela, of course.
Yeah.
And I was a Sean Green fan. I remember when he was playing a little later on than that. I don't know. I just always kind of liked them. Now they're great to like.
Yeah. For sure.
So what about you, Alex? I mean, obviously we know you grew up in Philadelphia area, but you've been I think you said you lived in New York for a while. You live in Georgia now. Like, do you have another team that if you weren't a Phillies fan, you would be another team you're following, or do you follow another team throughout the year a little bit just to see what they're up to? What up, Aaron?
I always like the teams that don't have a lot of money but figure out ways to make it work, like the Rays or the Athletics. Like, I really respect that whole process. But I like the Dodgers too. It's weird. Like, I think I like the history of the team. Like, I love the Brooklyn Dodgers and like the whole legacy of that team. There's so many awesome players there you go.
This cat's from like 1939-ish.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know they had green before they had blue.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
They were in black and white back then, so you can't tell.
Yeah, I lived in New York for a little bit of time, and I was like not too far away from where Ebbets Field was, and there's just something really special about that place, and and like so many great players on that team.
Yeah.
So are you able to go to any card shows or card shops, John, in South Carolina? Is anything like that going on? Are you going to try to attempt to? Or
I mean, we have one card shop, and every time I've tried to go, it's closed. I don't know when he's open. And that's it. And there's one up in the Myrtle Beach area that I go to.
Oop, lost them.
Yeah, well, and every once in a while they have at my local mall, they have a little bit of a show there. But I never know where. They never really announce it, so you just have to kind of stumble on it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know. Well, I guess the thing is, like here in Indiana, it's like hit and miss. Like right now, card shows are still like month to month, week to week, even with the whole COVID stuff. So you don't really know. There's one card show, luckily here in Indianapolis, that they're like, they don't care. They're like, we're having a show, so we'll be there if you want to be there, which I appreciate. But I mentioned this to Alex, I think a couple days ago, our last one. I was asking you, John, are you looking forward to, and will you do it if they have fans back in the stadiums? Are you going to try to catch a couple games of baseball this year?
Yeah, so I'm in Charleston, so we have a minor league team, the River Dogs. In fact, this is where Aaron Judge played here. And I think this is where A-Rod was when he was rehabbing back in the day, but that was before I lived here. But anyway, they're supposed to be opening it up a bit this year. So I was just talking to my wife about that. I was like, we're gonna have to go. I want to go support them a little bit and see a game again. Jason, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had the president of the River Dogs came. He wanted to take a tour of my card room. And wanted to find a way to do a display at the stadium, right? So I bring him in here. I'm showing him all these. He brought some other guy that he works with, and the two of them are looking around. And I'm like, this is a rare Honus Wagner. This is a rare Ty Cobb. Look at this Babe Ruth. And the one thing that he was enamored with, he didn't really seem to care that much about the cards. Once he saw this, that's all he wanted to talk about, because he had one of these card lockers when he was a kid. And I'm like, really? I'm trying to show him everything, and he's just enamored with this card locker. It's the funniest thing.
That is hilarious. But do you remember? I'm sure Alex remembers. I think it might be a little bit after your like as a kid time or as a teenager time. But do you remember those things in like the late '80s of Sports Talk? And they would have the discs you put in there.
Yep.
And they have like a little record thing that would record. And you would hear them do like a little 5-minute speech or whatever. I love those things. Did you ever have one, or do you know what that is?
I remember those, and I had a couple friends that had those. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been so long. I don't think I've thought about that actually since I was a kid, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I remember them, but I had really no interest in them.
Right, I figured as much, right? But it's like something like that when you like you said, you're showing all these awesome cards. And then if you see, like, I saw that sitting off to the side, I'd be like, right. Sean, you have one of those? Like, no way. I haven't seen that since '88.
It's nostalgia, man. It's nostalgia. That's that's why us older guys collect.
Right. Well, I don't know if you all caught any of the. I didn't watch any. I just kind of saw highlights. But at the Kansas City Chiefs game yesterday, dude, that stadium looked like it was packed. I don't know if it was. I'm sure it wasn't. But that made me feel real warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, thinking that if that's what we're going to see in January, hopefully by April, we'll be able to see baseball at maybe that same level.
Well, it's funny you say that, and I don't know what their numbers are that they allow in, but every time I watched a Kansas City game this year where they were in Kansas City, I noticed that they seem to have more fans than every other team. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what it seemed like.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Maybe they let you be a lot closer too. You know what I'm saying? So it feels more filled up.
That might be too.
Instead of being so spread out over they let like 10,000 fans in, but there's like pockets of 10 all over the stadium or whatever.
Yeah, that might be.
That might be it. But when I saw that last night or whatever, it might have been this morning a little bit, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's actually going to happen. Maybe we're going to get there to a point where we can go. Because I got to say, on Saturday, I was with Sean, stealing second. We went to go have a bite to eat in Fort Wayne. And apparently Fort Wayne is like the new, like, Miami. Because every place was packed. There was lines out the door to every restaurant. And I'm like, where is this Miami? Like, how is every restaurant in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is literally the armpit of Indiana, how is it that packed that you cannot get in? I mean, we're talking about Asian food, Hispanic food, American food, any food you could think of, Italian, whatever. It's all packed out the door. So, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is wild. I thought it'd be like plenty of places to go.
Yeah.
So, is South Carolina back to opening up as far as restaurants and businesses where you can like kind of live your life back to normal, or are they kind of still trying to be closed off?
Yeah, I mean, if you go up to Murrells Inlet, it's pretty much almost normal. And then in Charleston here, I mean, wherever you go, it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty steady. It's pretty crowded, but everybody's wearing a mask for sure, and you have to wear a mask to walk 2 feet from the hostess table to your table, past everybody else who's not wearing masks.
Right. Right.
You literally go like this. Right, like you literally wear it for two steps, but yeah, everything's pretty hopping. Of course, South Carolina has kind of been a little bit more free than a lot of the other states from the beginning. It got, I mean, our gyms closed for a while, and lots of things closed. It got pretty bad, and then they finally opened up gyms, but they have to take your temperature before you're allowed to enter. They have limited the number of people, so you wait in line during busy periods of time to get into the gym, stuff like that. But I mean, it can go. I'm not complaining about it. I'm glad it's open.
What about you there in Georgia? Have you seen things get? I mean, you're a young hip dude there in Georgia, Alex. You just had your 21st birthday, right. So how's everything in Savannah? As things are like kind of back to normal, you're able to like kind of come and go as you please, or are things still kind of restricted?
I mean, it's definitely not back to normal, but you see signs of it everywhere, just like anywhere else. Masks and restrictions and numbers of people that are not allowed to get into certain buildings and stuff like that. But when you go downtown, especially on the weekends, like downtown Savannah is really, really busy Friday night, Saturday night. There's a lot of bars and restaurants and stuff going on. And I'll tell you, sometimes you don't even know that COVID's going on, to varying degrees. Like there's a lot happening. And a lot of people are just like, well, I'm going to try to live my life. I'm not going to let this get in the way of it. So,
right.
As bad as it is, I think, businesses are doing whatever they can to keep going. So
sure. Let me switch it up. Let me ask you this. I don't know if this is a topic or a conversation you all have much interest in or care about, but I always like to ask. So you all know the Tampa Bay Rays. They've been stringing together pretty good seasons. Last year, obviously, they made it to the World Series. However, you could hear it wouldn't matter if COVID happened or not. There's like nobody in the stands for a Rays game.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of conversation that the Rays might be moving somewhere else. Mm-hmm. What town would you like to see the Rays go to if they end up leaving? Like, who do you think? What town, city, state needs a baseball team, or you think would a team would do well there?
That's a good question. I have to think about it. I never really.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the Rays need to leave Tampa. Just I don't want to piss off any Rays fans, but the guy.
I don't want them to leave either. I'm just saying that's the word around the campfire. Don't get me wrong. So yeah.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? The guy that is now the manager of the Phillies before, and I forget his name, but he used to work for the Red Sox. Before he agreed to come on board with the Phillies this year, he was on this committee to get Nashville a team. They were like really pushing for Nashville to get a franchise and join the major leagues. So they were either going to be like a brand new team or they were going to try to move somebody. So I bet you that they were looking at Tampa as one of the teams.
Now, can I ask you this? Do you think the Pirates could just swap management with them?
That would be nice. Yeah. No kidding. Well, I mean, like, I keep hearing like people say like they're trying to get them back to Montreal.
That would be great. That would be great. I'd love for Montreal to have a team again.
Right, that's what I've heard. So I don't know if that would actually happen or what the likelihood of that happening would be. But I heard that was like a big push to get a team back in Montreal. So I was thinking like it is kind of true if you watch the Rays games. There doesn't seem like a lot of people in the stands. You know?
I mean, they'd have to change their name, though. You can't be the Montreal Rays. Come on.
No, they cannot be. They have to be something else. Maybe something French to really trigger people.
I mean, I miss that Expos logo. That'd be so amazing to bring that back.
I know. You know, I mean, they never really were much of a contender, but they had some good ball players on the Expos, and they had great uniforms.
Yeah.
They had some good ball players that went through there. You had Al Oliver, the Hawk,
Randy Johnson.
What was his name? Galarraga.
Yeah, Andres
Galarraga.
Warren Cromartie. Who else? They had some fun players too. Oh, Tim Raines. Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Walker.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that team had a really good year. Was it 94 was the year of the strike?
They 94. Rusty Staub. That's another one. Good job. Yep. Third time.
Like they were on track to go to the World Series, and then when the strike happened, it ruined. Like they just got disbanded after that. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Vladimir Guerrero. That's right. Pedro Martinez. There's a couple ones for you. That's true.
Yeah. Then next you can bring back this one, and if you really want to have a controversy, bring back the Colt 45s, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
They'll be changing their name in no time. You can't have a gun on your hat.
No, you cannot. That is true. Unless you're talking about the malt liquor, then maybe you get away with it.
we need the Mariners logo to come back too.
Right. Maybe they could be the Montreal Pilots.
Yeah, it was funny. So when this team came up, in the '77 tops, everybody's airbrushed. It was quite funny.
Oh yeah, Pete Rose played for him there for a while too. The Expos.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Tony Perez played for him. Yeah. So there's a few other guys out there. So that's kind of where your career went to die if you're a Hall of Famer towards the end, I guess.
Kind of. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I still had some fun. They had some fun teams to watch. I mean, Tim Raines he probably played for them as far as big stars. Probably the longest, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Fact, but I think so. And then they had what was his name? Rogers, the pitcher.
Rogers.
Kenny
Rogers?
I forget his first name now.
Randy Johnson was there for a while. Gary Carter.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Randy Johnson came up with them.
Yeah.
I always think of Delino DeShields when I think of the Expos.
Yeah. Yeah. With a real tall hat on his rookie card or whatever. It's like he's way high up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Brooklyn. I don't have a problem. If Brooklyn got a team, I would seriously that'd be my favorite team. I don't care if they were like literally the worst team in baseball. 100%. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, this is the Topps proof of it.
Oh wow, cool.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Because it's like a $1 card, so you have to get the Topps proof. At least it's worth something.
Yeah, Derek figured it out. It was Steve Rogers.
Classic with the hat up.
Right. Man, oh man. So let me ask you all this. So you don't know this, John, but Alex said he was goaded into get back on here and have controversial topics be brought up to discuss. And so I know you don't really stay away from that necessarily. But let me ask you all this. There's a YouTube Hall of Fame going on right now.
Oh boy.
So don't worry, it's not a controversial question.
Yeah.
But the idea of the Hall of Fame is controversial, as we all know.
Sure.
But out of the people's channels you've been watching, your friends' channels you've been watching, discussing the channels they recommended, has there been one or two channels that you didn't know existed that through this you were brought to attention of, that you were like, how did this guy fly under the radar for so long? How did I not know about this guy? So do either one of you all have a channel or two that you didn't really know about and that you kind of got turned on to recently?
That is a really good question. I'm like scrolling through my feed right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that there were a lot of names brought up that I didn't hear of, but the ones that are getting the most votes, most of those I follow, subscribe to, and I know of. I don't watch a lot of pack breaks or live auctions or some of that kind of the breaks and stuff like that too much. I see some of the names for the channels that do that that I'm not that familiar with.
Yeah, for me, I would say Diamond Yard Sports Cards, George. I knew about that channel, like I had heard of it before, but for whatever reason, I just never really had spent much time on that channel. So, hearing more and more people, and I had started to watch that channel more even before the voting started. But I started to realize, hey Gary,
there you go, Mangini. He has it right there for you. You see it?
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah.
Do you have this one?
I had one like that. It was a different color, but that's got the little button turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have one like that, but it rotted out.
Yeah, the insides always rot out.
Yeah.
They get real flimsy.
Yeah, we're talking controversy.
What? I figured you'd pop in since you heard the word controversy.
Nope, I'm done with that. No more for me.
So what about you, Gary? Has there been a channel or maybe one or two channels that you didn't really know that much about that during the whole Hall of Fame of Friends that we all participate in that you kind of got turned on to that you didn't know about?
Not really this year. I know the last couple years, definitely, but I've actually probably found more channels, Jace, through your live chats than I have anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel like I've kind of gotten this ability to go across multiple different groups and channels and I do enough of an opportunity to bring those people in. KBO Collection out of South Korea. He popped in one day and now I love that guy's channel and I try to bring him in, a lot more. And I just things like that I just get excited about. Introducing my people I like.
You had the commission on
with those other channels.
Didn't you have the commission on one time?
That was a one-time only deal. He signed a one-day contract, and then that was it.
Well, Jason, I want to give you props because he's dead on. That's you bring everybody from different walks of life together on these things, and I think this is defining you right now. And I think that's why that makes you a Hall of Famer right there.
John,
what you do for the community.
I haven't watched your vote yet. Did you get yours in, John, yet or not?
Yes. Yeah, I got it in pretty early.
Did you vote for Zombie?
Yes, I did.
All right, that gives us some credibility then.
Right.
No, I've seen Zombie get a lot of votes, and I think I've heard people say that it is for what I just said.
Right.
That he has a way of bringing different members from the community together, and these live chats are great. When I'm not on one, I'm typing and sending in comments and questions and stuff. And and his rants are epic. I mean,
yeah,
he's kind of, like I said, he found God a little bit, so he doesn't really rant anymore.
Hey, Jace, can we back it up a little bit to the Snoop video that those guys did? Because I've asked Stoke, and he doesn't know. Who all was that directed at? Because we all know John Sports Card was one guy that did a video. Was there anybody else that did a video that was complaining about not getting votes?
So here's the thing. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. So here's a hot take for everybody.
All right.
So, and this way, all the heat will go to me and Alex can avoid any possible heat on him. But he's like, and I'm out like that. So I agree with you. Only John Sports Collector or whatever his channel was from last year was the one that was the main one that was discussed or was brought up, right? I will say, and this is, take it for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? Because I have no idea at the end of the day. But I got a call from Snoop apparently either right before or right after that video went live, and he wanted to tell me that that video was not directed towards me. Now, I don't remember why he would even felt like he needed to do that. I honestly don't remember, because quite frankly, after I do back then when I was doing live streams, or if I did a video and people got butthurt, like I could care less. So somebody might have said I said something. He might have saw something that he thought was upsetting to him. I don't know, but he wanted me to personally know that it was not directed towards me, anything he said. And I told him, and like I'll tell you all right now, I said, dude, you can do whatever you want. Like when I do my live streams, like you all know, like when I do my hot takes, or when I do my rant videos, I don't really care what people think or say or feel like. I'm just who I am.
Right.
So I told him the same thing I'm telling you all, but behind the scenes, I was like, dude, you got to do what you got to do. I'm like, it is what it is. When I went to go listen to it, I didn't feel like he was talking about me. So I don't know if I don't know why he would call me and tell me that.
Right.
If he thought I was going to feel that, if I was going to feel some kind of way about it, but I didn't get that from the video. I felt like he was talking about specific people that we're talking about. I never said, why am I not getting into the Hall of Fame? So I don't know where that came from. So I don't know who that was about.
And I'm not bashing John Sports Car. He's got a pretty big channel, I think. But the thing is, his followers, I don't think are creators. Or content creators. I don't know if I'm a creator or not, but I don't think he's drawing that same type of community that us three. John probably draws a lot bigger community, bigger than what we do. But I think he's drawing guys that are just watching, and that really aren't sharing their hobby like what we're doing.
Right.
Well, it goes back to before you got on here. It kind of goes back to what John had said, because John said he doesn't really watch, and I'm the same way. A lot of pack rippers and box breakers, which is, if I remember correctly, that's what John's channel is. John Sports Cards. I mean, that's what he does. I don't watch stuff like that. I know Alex and I've talked. I don't think he really watches a whole lot of that either. So, I mean, there's a lot of us who kind of stick together in our little groups and stuff that we, hang around with, that a lot of those big channels that do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my cup of tea.
And I watched some of that stuff. I just wouldn't nominate some of that. Like Jabs, I've even watched Jabs open old wax, but I wouldn't nominate him because he's not really participating in our thing we got going on here. So
sure. So, I mean, that's all I remember about the whole thing was that. And that, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm the same thing I'm telling you all now is a conversation I had with Snoop back then.
Right.
So I don't know if there was certain people in the community that, were butthurt about what I said. I honestly don't remember, because I don't even care that deeply about it. But I will tell you, John, to go back to what you said, I promise you my rants will come back. I just got to get into the Hall of Fame first. So don't you worry. As soon as I got that patch in hand, dude, the rants will be back.
So Zombie, did you do a rant last year then?
I don't think so. Alex, do you remember? Did I do any rant video where I was like?
Because, I mean, we got to go back 2 years ago when Mike kind of started this whole thing, when he did his video about not voting for your friends. I think that's what stirred everybody up first.
Zombie, you did some sort of rant, because that's how I discovered you. That was the first video I ever saw of yours.
Well, and like I said, I know I did a rant video. I'm not questioning that. I'm saying but what I was saying was I ranting about not voting for me, which I would never think I would say that. I could be wrong, but no, I don't think I ever did a video where I'm saying, if you don't vote for me, like that's just messed up and blah, blah, blah. I don't think I'm that arrogant to say that.
I think we all know what you were ranting about, or who.
Yeah, right. And that's my point. Yeah. I think that's my point, is like, if you're talking about that kind of ranting, then 100% yes. But maybe that's the reason why Snoop reached out to me and was like, hey, this is for other people. Whichever, he never told me who those people are. That's why I put it in quotes, because I don't know. But it wasn't directed towards you. And I told Snoop, I love Snoop. Snoop's a great guy. He's very much a guy who likes to call it like he sees it. And I'm the same way. So I was like, dude, you got to do what you got to do. I watched the video, and if I'm butthurt by it, I'll let you know. I wasn't, so I moved on. So
yeah, I don't think that was directed at you at all. I remember watching some people really, saying some of the things that made sense that video might be about, but I don't remember who they were. I was, I wasn't really, I wasn't familiar with a lot of these channels. until the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's one of the good things of the Hall of Fame is I was watching back and stuff.
Well, I think Alex, but you might agree with this, is that, you know, the Hall of Fame is pretty vanilla, but when I injected myself into it, it causes so much controversy. So many people from all over the place get in on it and want to know what's going on, and so they become more participation of what's happening because of that. And I could be wrong, but it seems like it's pretty straightforward. And then I come in sideways on Mike or whatever, and then it turns into a whole big fiasco.
Right.
Yeah, I wish more of the football type guys, you know, some of those bigger channels would get involved in it, and they'd probably wipe us out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know any football channels. Like I said, like John Mangini's channel is the only football channel I watch, really, because he'll show a football card here and there. But hey, what up, Jamar? But yeah.
I want to go back to something John was saying earlier. So, you know, when you first start a channel and you start learning about all these other channels that exist, first of all, that's like really cool and exciting, and you know, you feel like you're discovering channels and other people. But at first, the only way that you really have to connect with people is comments. You know, and you can leave comments, hey, this is really cool, thanks for sharing what you got, whatever, and they can respond to you or whatever. But it's not like super direct. It's always kind of like, you know, kind of formal in a way. But then if you find this and you come in here, there's like a real informality to like, wow, there's like all sorts of different people in here, and like everybody's collecting something different, comes at it from a different perspective. And I know for a fact, like when I first started coming into this chat 3 years ago, or whenever it was, that I got people's contact information out of this chat and they became friends. And that was like, there's no one else doing that.
Right.
Like, no one else is just throwing up chats like this often, getting people together.
One day I got a text and they said, is this the Mangini collection? I was like, yeah. And he's like, this is Jason, Zombie Collector. I don't even know where you got my number.
Oh,
and
I stalked you in South Carolina, and I looked through your window, and I saw it on your Rolodex. No, I think I asked I can't remember who I asked. There was somebody in the community, and I said, hey, do you have John Mangini's contact info? And they were like, yeah, I got it. So I was like, I always say, let them know if it's okay for me to have it, because I think Gary and Alex both know that I've always said, before I pass out your info, I ask, hey, so-and-so wants your info. Can I pass it along? Because I don't want them to think, like, what just happened to you? Like some strange guy that you might know on internet, but just say, hey, this is so-and-so, because let's be honest, there's some weirdos in this community who I don't want them to have my information. And most importantly, that's Bob Lewis. So, but for sure. So now, John, if the Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, if the National happens, are you going to be going to Chicago with all of us?
I plan on it. Are you talking to me?
All right, good. We're all crashing at Gary's house. He's in Illinois.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll be going, Jason. It just depends if I can get that week off. I'm laid off right now, so I'm not working in the wintertime. So over the summer and the spring and fall is our busiest time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we need you to be there, dude. I need you to be there because I need
backup.
We're
about 2.5. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll show up for that day for sure. Maybe the first day, just to make sure everything's nice and smooth.
Right.
Just when we're shaking hands and getting that patch.
Right.
I don't know what to do. I need somebody to show me around because I've never been to one.
Oh man, John, you'll just wander around. You'll be fine.
Okay. Right. So let me ask you all this. So I think it's interesting that I had heard from somebody in this community. I'm not going to call them out because it's a quasi-arrogant thing, but I wanted to ask you all this. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been out at a card? Maybe this might not make sense because I don't think a lot of us have been that way in the last year or so. But have you ever been to a card show or a card shop and somebody knew you from your YouTube channel?
No. I'm not that famous, Jason.
There's a couple people in this community who that's what they do this for. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, really?
I definitely like had that happen at the National. That's the only, to me, that's the only place where that's going to happen to people. It's like, wait a second, I recognize that guy because I've been staring at a little thumbnail of them on YouTube. Yeah, definitely. I can't remember who, but like, hey, I think I've followed your channel. You know, that happens a lot at the National. I don't know about like regular card shows though.
Yeah, New York Yanks fan 7 says he gets recognized all the time. Uh-oh.
Hey, Jace, you got a snowstorm in your spot?
Yeah, the power just went out. Oh, it just came back on.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you lose me, it's because we got a snowstorm.
Yeah, oh, that was crazy, dude. I thought you all gonna see me just die right there on camera.
Entertainment value. I love it.
Yeah.
That would have been all. It would have been like something like from like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
YouTube baseball Hall of Fame horror film.
Yeah, exactly. That'll definitely get me in. So
I met up with somebody who was on YouTube. When I went to New York City, I was asking around for a card shop to go to, and somebody recommended Brigandy. So I went in there and wanted to do a joint YouTube video. So that was fun.
all right, maybe.
Oh, no, he said when he went outside 10 minutes ago.
But okay.
That's a cool place. That's a cool store that guy's got.
Yeah, it was nice.
So-
It's like right around the corner from where all the Wall Streeters hang out, and it's nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So the reason why I asked that question is because, you know, it was brought to my attention not because somebody would see me in public or whatever like that, but you know, I got an email from somebody. I don't know if this has ever happened to you three. It was kind of like an introductory to like grease the wheels because I don't know if this has happened to you all before, but I wanted to ask. But I got an email not too long ago from somebody that's in our community that I've never really corresponded with a lot. And he wrote me an email and he talked about how much me doing my videos and me doing the live streams, like how much they appreciated that. Yeah. And how much it helped them, like, you know, just, you know, be a part of the community or feel like, you know, they're like connected with other people. Yeah. Like there was one guy in particular during Christmas, he said he had no family. He had nowhere to go for Christmas or New Year's, and my live streams helped him get through a really hard time.
Wow.
And I say that not to pat myself on the back, but I always say, like, you sometimes don't really know how you could really be impacting someone else's life. And you don't think showing a couple baseball cards on, you know, print pictures on a piece of cardboard is going to make that big of a difference in somebody's life. But you know, it really opened my eyes to be like, wow, there's people out there who I don't even really know who took the time to send me a message to say something I said or did, or just my general, just being able to be available to them and do it in this kind of forum really helped them or really made them feel like connected. I mean, you know, what's your all's thoughts about that? Like how we could be, you know, dare I say, influencers like that, like, you know, help people out.
You have 26 viewers? Dang.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you, I encounter that a lot on my Facebook page. I have a lot of people that'll message me. I remember one guy was going through some depression and want to talk some cards, and I don't really get into details or anything like that. But you'd be surprised how many people reach out that might be going through a bad time.
Yeah.
What about
they feel some connection, you know, because you have a mutual interest in something, and they might not have anybody else to talk to. Some of them, I've been surprised at what some people share with me.
Well, I think it's cool. Like, I mean, Jason, that this chat can do that for people, but also like that so many new YouTubers were originally just watching stuff and decided to get in on it. Like, you know, Nate was just talking about how Rick originally wasn't on YouTube and just came up to him at a show, and now he's got a channel that everybody loves. And you know, I know Don's in here. Don, I'm pretty sure was watching videos for a while, and now he's got a great channel started. And you know, that's really cool. It's like everybody always sort of says it out loud, like, hey, if you're interested in being on YouTube, you should start a channel. But like, actually, some people actually do that. Like, they're like, hey, that's a good idea. I should do that. And when they get involved, and before you know it, you've got like 6 dudes texting you about baseball cards all day. That's like a good thing to have in your life.
Right.
And it's not just pictures of their wang, so it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's only on your Tinder.
Yeah, that's only on Tinder, right? Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you, Gary. I'll just go around the horn. Oh, around the horn. Do you all remember that show, Around the Horn? Let me go around the horn. Who was the main guy for you, Gary, to get you into doing this YouTube videos? Was there an individual or individuals you watching that kind of got you like inspired to start doing this, or did you just do it on your own? Because I'm going to ask each one of you that.
I watched for a couple years first, but probably Ray from Philly probably was the first one I caught, and then like everybody, Baseball Card Mike and Mike O, and Ed. But I watched for 2 years, but I'm a big fan of Ray. I text Ray all the time.
Ray's great.
Yeah, I mean, Ray and I collect a lot of the same stuff, or like a lot of the same stuff, and we're probably a little easier on the Hall of Fame than what a lot of people are. We'd probably put a lot more guys in there than what other guys will, but that's where it started for me. But I watched for like 2 years before I even started commenting, so I was kind of slow going. Try not to put too much out there, Jack. I try to stay small channel.
Me too, man. I'm all about being small, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, those days are over for you.
This strap a rocket on me, dude. I'm flying up to the top now. So what about you, John? I know you've mentioned this in a previous video a little bit before, because you kind of were doing your own thing, kind of like not even knowing this world was out there. But like, was there anybody in particular that kind of got you going? Like, you know what? I'm doing this already, kind of. Why would I not do a YouTube channel? Like, other people inspired you at all, or no?
No. So, well, yes and no. I mean, I posted videos on YouTube before I ever watched any. I didn't know this community was out there. I didn't know there were people making baseball card videos on YouTube. I didn't know that existed. So, Dave Blue Jacket 66 kind of discovered, so to speak, and he gave me a shout out, and he gave me some suggestions, and then other people gave me some suggestions, and I took those seriously and changed what I was doing. And then after that, then I started discovering new channels, and there are lots of them, that I watched, but Dave Blue Jacket 66 was the first.
Nice. So what about you, Alex? I mean, obviously you and I think started around the exact same time, and it was weird because somebody just did a video where they put us both in the Hall of Fame. I think it was Ed, and it was based on when you started and how many subs you have or something like that, and that's how he put you in. And it was like mine was November of 2017, and you were like March of 2018. So you and I almost started exactly the same time. So for you, how did you get here?
Yeah, that's weird because originally I was only doing the super short videos about each card that I was getting for the Bowman set. And and I was not in those videos, and like I had no intention of ever like getting on camera or talking or doing mail days. I was just going to do that. And then I went into a chat that Nate did, Tops 85 401. And Nate was like, "Oh, hey, Bowman, I really like your videos. You should talk on your videos. You should get on camera with your videos." And he just kind of said it like in passing. And I was like, yeah, I probably should. I should like get more involved. And that was it. Like, it was really just Nate saying that like kind of convinced me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really cool because, I mean, so many of us, if you think about it, so many people were, like I said, it goes back to people might have influenced you and you didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? People, just by a simple statement or a simple shout out, or like Gary was saying, he watched a couple of videos and he just kind of was like, yeah, these guys, I could do that. I'm able to do that. And that's how I was. I'm kind of more like Gary. Like, I would just watch the people, on the sidelines, and then said, you know what, this might be fun to do this, and I think it's great. and to know that we might be able to do that for other people is really cool. I think that's a kind of awesome thing because all four of us collect different ways. Obviously, what I'm into is different than what, John's into and Gary and Alex and whatnot. But I think it's cool because, even though what I might be into might not be what the other person is into, these kind of live streams or these kind of, like you said, connections you're building can get you to somebody else that might even have a stronger connection with the way they collect, or maybe it's a personality mesh that you really gel with the personality and the way they're presenting the information. Like I've always said it before, like John could be talking about Ronda Rousey or whatever, and I have no interest in her, but the way he presents it and talks about it, I'm like, I'm committed. I'm committed to hear what he has to say about this, you know? And, you know, I think that says a lot about the people's interactions and how you connect with people in the community.
Jace, when was your first video?
Mine?
Yeah.
November of 2017. That's what Ed said.
Okay, because I was April of 2018, so I started right after you.
Oh wow.
Okay, yeah.
So,
That's so cool.
It's like super grainy. It's like you can barely make out me. It was like I'm like a Japanese adult video. It's all pixelated.
My first video, I had my phone up the wrong way, but it didn't take me but one time to figure it out and do it right. So.
Yeah.
Hey, is New York Yanks fan still on here?
Oh, I'm sure he is. Is New York Yanks fan? I'm gonna start calling him Marv.
You know what?
I like Maximus.
Thank you too. He talked me off the ledge one day when I was gonna quit.
Oh, really? You were gonna go? You're gonna quit? What happened there? We got to hear the story.
Okay, so you know they had that law change, right? So Mike Baseball Collector, Mike Baseball Collector has
Copacabana.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Copacabana.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
So Mike Baseball Collector has some kind of world premiere, and they're going to talk about it. And there were a bunch of like this, and there was a bunch of people, and they scared the heck out of me.
Yeah.
And then I started researching it. I'm reading about all the things that could go wrong, and it was a total overreaction. David Blue Jacket 66 told everybody, just calm down.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna happen or whatever. And I remember NY Yanks Fan 7 did a video, and he was talking about how everybody was scared, and he said something about me. He's like, even John Mangini's leaving or whatever, and gave me some nice compliments, about my collection or whatever. And that was, I think the third person that had ever even given me a remote shout out, because David Blue Jacket 66 was first, and then Baseball Collector gave me a shout out, and then so that was like the third. And I always teased him, he talked me off the ledge. But I think it's very important for all of us in the community to, once in a while, when you find a good channel, a good guy or gal, and have a whole lot of subscribers, to give them a shout out, if you enjoy what they're doing. I know people did it for me, and I'll do it for people. And the one suggestion I would give creators about that is don't do so many at a time. When you give out 10 shout outs, it's just overwhelming. I most people aren't going to go to all 10 maybe. So I would keep it more limited, to one or two. Just my suggestion. But
yeah, I think that's true. I mean, if you go to Vintage Card Steve's channel, every video he does, he does 2 or 3 shout outs in the video. Yep. It's sometimes it's like a 5 to 8 minute video. It's not super long, so you're not overwhelmed. And because he's gonna show cards also, but I think he has a good strategy. If you want to see the cards, you stay for the cards. But he wants the first minute or two, he wants to put some people over because he thinks it's, hey, I like these channels. I think it's a great approach. So that way people will come, listen, see what you have to say, and move on. I think that's a great opportunity. I like that, dude. Yeah, I like.
You should say something about.
Andy's here. Andy's here. What's up, dude?
Hey, John. Have you ever had anybody attack you on your channel, or like Rick Hoop you or anything like that? Or
oh heck yeah!
Oh, have you really?
Rick Hoop.
Rick Hoops.
I haven't really had any issues like that, but I don't get all the views. So
I've had some real rude comments. I just block them.
I always struggle with like All Time Sports Card Blog. He's pushing that rookie card stuff, and I always come across wrong or something when I ask him questions. He must think I'm a dick because he never replies to me. Everybody else is getting hearts and commented back, and here I am sitting in there with nothing. And I guess it's hard to come across on the keyboard that you're just trying to talk to somebody, and
Well, let me tell you something about that. And you can't always judge because you don't always know what somebody's situation is, and when you see in writing, you don't always know what the tone is.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. I had a guy, and every one of his comments sounded rude, right? And I was this close to blocking him because I had just had another guy that was a complete idiot. He was just so rude. And right after him came this guy, and I was this close. And I'm like, well, let me let it go for a while. Maybe I'm not reading everything into this. And then all of a sudden, he started to compliment me. He commented on every video, and he was sharing his knowledge with me. He was just one of those guys that was very direct, had a little raw sense of humor, but he ended up being like one of my biggest followers. So you never know. I mean, I try to give everybody an opportunity because I know when you get text, sometimes you misread the tone of them.
Right.
Yeah.
You get upset and somebody meant it as a joke and you didn't even know that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
It's kind of funny. Go ahead.
Jason.
Sorry,
Well, I was just gonna say
No,
I used to comment and put, pretty good paragraphs of a comment, but now I don't think people want that, so I've tried to back it down a little bit. And I mean, I just don't want to comment attaboy. I mean, that's really not having a conversation.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how you have a conversation on YouTube. That's the only way you can do it. You can't put pictures. Right. So you have to do it with comments. And I'll tell you, when you get a video with a lot of comments, or you get lots of videos, when you get lots of comments, it gets harder and harder to reply to them all. Right. I try to get to every single one of them. I think I do pretty good, but that's part of the fun is interacting. And, people are telling me about certain players, about certain card issues. And I learn a lot through that interaction. And, when I'm watching a video and I relate to something and it's a really good video, like I want to get in there and talk to them about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the only way you can do it. So I think it's okay to leave long comments.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Jace, one more quick thing. This is kind of off topic, but we need to pull Stove's blue wrench. He's in Bob Lewis's live stream right now. He's hopping back and forth.
Unacceptable.
Pull the blue wrench. Give it to Lou Rock.
I'm giving it to Lou Rock. I'm gonna give it to anybody except Stove. That turncoat.
Pull that blue wrench, man.
Yeah.
What's the blue wrench?
He's getting ready to get bounced.
What's the blue wrench?
That's a moderator.
When you become a moderator on the channel. So
I don't know about
let me tell you all this. So it's Alex, what about you, buddy? Because I always wondered, have you ever had it like kind of bounce off what Gary said? I mean, you've been doing videos obviously for years now. Have you ever had anybody that really, I mean, you seem like you're such a likable guy. I feel like it's hard to like give you a hard time on your videos, but have you ever ran into that with anybody?
I'm glad I fooled you that I'm a likable guy.
I know.
I've probably had a few nasty comments here and there. One of them, since he's in here and we're poking fun at him already, was a direct result of doing a collab video with Stove. So you know you're gonna get problems when you work with that. But no, usually like it's people they'll leave nice comments, just like, hey, this was really cool. I enjoyed this video, whatever. But and that's cool because I like those kinds of comments because it's like it's really kind of them just saying like, hey, I just want you to know I'm out here and I'm enjoying this, and it's an opportunity to kind of think about that particular tuber and connect with them, and like you're more like likely to be thinking about them when their video shows up in your feed, and like you're going to want to watch their stuff too. And that's how it gets started, right? Like the whole friendship starts that way. Right. But also I love the comments that are really specific. Like somebody will be like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but like this card is actually part of this set, or like maybe you didn't know this about this guy's history, but like he was also on this team or whatever it is. And like suddenly I've got like way more knowledge about whatever card I just got, just because people out there know so much stuff. Like, I mean, forget like all the baseball card books, like the knowledge is on YouTube. It's like if people are watching your channel, they're dropping all their knowledge in your comments. And then, like,
these guys that are bringing the heat in your comment section are most of those guys that actually don't make videos. They're just commenters.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I've kind of noticed that too.
I want to tell you that like a lot of those people that are non-content makers, they know, way more than most of us or a lot of us. There's some knowledgeable people that you get comments from.
Yeah, that's true. And that's what you're looking for. But the other thing too is like, hey, look, if somebody wants to point out that I made a mistake, I like, that's a good thing. Like, I want to like, hey, actually that card's from this other set or whatever, or like, that's actually not an error or whatever it is. It's like, I love for somebody to do that. Like, it's not a bad thing for somebody to leave a comment like that.
Yeah. Our viewers are savvy. I get corrected. It made me be extra careful,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there's no way for anyone to know everything. It's just impossible. It's just obvious. So an area that you may not be as strong in, obviously someone else may have a lot more, knowledge. So why would you not, it's always about the presentation, of course, too. If they're wanting to try to help you, they want to make sure you understood saying something. That's one thing. To treat you like you're an idiot, that's a totally different situation, of course. So, it's funny because when I think about that, like negative comments, the only time, I know this isn't going to come to a shock for most of you all, the only time I ever get that is when I do my rant videos. Every time else, I don't really get that,
Yeah.
So that's about the only one. But, I am, obviously prepared for that because when you say things that fire people up, they're gonna respond.
Yeah, do you even get that much heat, Jason, for your because usually you're right on the money. You're saying things that other people want to say but don't.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, once in a while, and I don't want to put him on blast because he's in our community, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a negative, but because it's not. But once in a while, I would say some stuff on some of my rant videos, and he really wouldn't comment on my actual regular videos, like whatever. But every time I did a rant video, he'd want to challenge me on whatever the rant was that day, And I would, and to me, and I'm sure you all would agree, is like I'm okay to be challenged if you want to challenge me, but don't just challenge me on the ones that just shows up whenever you want to show up and rant. But on my video, I'm showing like an Ichiro card. You don't want to comment on that video, right. But you want to comment on the video where I'm saying something that you find offensive or whatever. So you only come around my channel when it's that. You only want to comment when it's something you want to get into. You want to get into a fisticuffs over.
Well, unfortunately,
guys,
go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, I just want to tell you all better get ready. Get your knee pads on because here he comes. Aaron Davis is with us, everybody. Woo! Yes. My knee pads are firmly on, dude. So I'm ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Doing a lot better now that you're here.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Hey, you know what? I think we're a little too crowded. I'm going to jump on and turn it over to him. He's more entertaining anyway.
All right. See you later, John.
See you, John.
All right, John. Take care, brother.
John, see you later, man.
All right. Well, hey, Aaron, thank you for joining, man.
Oh, man. Thank you for having me, man. It's fantastic.
Oh, man, dude. I should have done something with my hair today. I feel a little bit out of place.
Stop, man.
Oh, man. So you just did a video today. I think you uploaded of a card, and you did a video. You did a video I think a couple days ago too. So I got to ask you. You gotta go in spurts. Now I know you always say in your videos that you're always buying. You're always buying stuff. You're always you're always adding. So sometimes for you maybe it's just a time issue having an opportunity to do a video. So for you, what is like the best time for you to really like be able to like put together some videos and like get them out there? Because every time you put something out, Aaron is like absolute fire. Like it's literally. I gotta have oven mitts on when I'm watching it because it's gonna burn my hand when I watch your videos. So.
I appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, it used to be, when I stopped making videos, it used to be, because of work. I would have to have these layoffs because I would do a lot of traveling and things like that. But recently, now that I'm completely retired, it's just been the moving. I sold my old house and we bought another house in a couple of cities over, and we wanted to downsize because all the kids, you know, they're gone. And so we just decided to go ahead and sell and kind of downsize the home. And that's what the layoff was now. But now that, you know, we're getting settled in, you're going to start seeing a lot more videos coming from the channel.
So I don't know how about the other guys feel, but when I hear the word downsize, I hear more money in your pocket, Aaron. Is that right for baseball cards?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. There you go. That's right.
Absolutely, man.
Now, I want to ask you, Aaron, now you may have said this in other videos, now that you have a lot of them out there and you've done it for a while. Now, I did want to ask you, you talk a lot about your family, you know, both your mom and dad or whatnot, and also like your wife and your family. Are they as big into the history of the game as you are? They celebrate it as much as you in your household? Because it sounds like they do. It sounds like it's a very strong connection with your family and the game of baseball and the sports in general. But I mean, is that a fair assessment? I mean, like, it seems like you all really do this together.
Yeah, it is, man. You know, my wife, you know, bless her heart, you know, she's kind of learned to, you know, appreciate it a lot more over the years. But yeah, you know, my kids, they love sports. My son loves boxing. My daughter, you know, she loves sports too as well. But as far as my whole entire family and parents and things like that, you know, I mentioned that in my video, they were heavily into sports. I mean, my mom was a big football and baseball fan, and my dad was a huge football and baseball fan. So I was born into it. And of course, I played football, you know, all the way up into college in baseball. So, you know, just been around it pretty much my entire life. And, you know, my kids love it, wife loves it. So I'm in a good place, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I don't know if you might have heard us talk about, because I know you popped in earlier, but during this time of the year, this is the Hall of Fame, you know, YouTube Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to do anything controversial with you, Eric, because I don't want to do anything crazy. I want to handle this, and I want you to come back. So far, out of the videos you've been watching from your buddies or whatever, the people you watch, has there been any new channels that you've kind of found over this experience over the last couple weeks, or maybe even the last year or so, that you've kind of been watching recently and you've been enjoying that you didn't know about before this year, or maybe the last few weeks?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man. I mean, that's the beauty of this thing, you know, is that by doing this, you know, you start to recognize some of those channels that are out there that you wasn't familiar with. I mean, last year I found so many different channels, you know, from people voting and things like that, that it was just wonderful, man. And this year, the same thing. I mean, I discovered a couple. I didn't know about Canadian cards. You know, I didn't know about his channel. I found his channel, and you know, what a wonderful collection he has. And Cardi C, I didn't know about Cardi C either. I started, you know, watching Cardi C's videos. So I'm always on the hunt looking for videos, man, because I'm one of those guys, man, that appreciates, you know, and look, the way I look at it here, look, if you can muster up enough, you know, courage to get on here and make a video, everybody is Hall of Famers, man. I mean, it can be, listen, it can be so intimidating sometimes to get on here and get in front of the camera and talk intelligently about what you love. It's tough. So if you can do on there passionately and come in here and just show some cards and talk about why you love them, man, you're a Hall of Famer. You know, you are.
Aaron, will you stay sub? Do you stay sub to guys that you don't watch? I've asked these other guys, you know, if they, you know, are we just trading subs, or you just stay sub to guys that you watch? Because you're a pretty big channel, aren't you? Haven't you got quite a few subs?
I mean, honestly, I think I'm around the 800 mark, somewhere around in there. I don't have one of those incredibly large channels,
right.
But yeah, you know, I try to watch everybody's video. I don't always get a chance to comment, but I do like them. You know, I like them. I hit the like button, and then I try to go back at some point and put, you know, a comment or two in there. But yeah, man, I like all channels. That's just the way I feel. I love those videos where people are starting out and, you know, that just, you can tell, you know, it's their first video. And, you know, I love finding those guys, man, because it's tough. It was tough for me, you know, when I first got on here on YouTube, man, I didn't know what the hell to think. I just got on here. are people going to like it? Are they going to dislike it? You know, and all that type of stuff, you know? So I remember how it was when I first got on there. So
yeah. What do you, Zombie, I'm not trying to take over here, but I don't get to talk to Aaron probably ever. So, but just another question. What do you do with guys that like just come in on one of your videos and drop you a comment and that's it? You never see them again.
I don't do anything. Tell you the truth, I don't. It doesn't bother me, man. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't, delete a channel or I don't do any of that, man. It's
right.
It's your prerogative. The point to that is, the reason why I say that is because the thing is, man, I'm just on here to show cards because I love them. So whether you comment on them or not, that's okay. You know, this is just something that I got archived. My family can see it. Their grandkids can see it. And it can be something, something special, say, hey, granddad made some videos back in the day.
Right. Yeah. That's true. So to kind of go off of what you were saying, Aaron, I'll start with you, then we can work our way around. So as you even mentioned, like sometimes checking some of the guys' first videos out, like catching them when they first start out. So for you, when did you kind of feel like you kind of hit your groove? Was it like a few months into it? Was it a year into it? Was the first 3 videos? Like where did you kind of get like, the nerves kind of fell away, the butterflies kind of fell away? You just kind of was like, hey, I could do this. This is me. So where were you at for that?
I think probably the first 4 or 5 months, I started getting more comfortable with it. The first channel, I had 2 channels. My first channel was interesting because that channel got hacked. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it got hacked. And I had to delete it and restart all over again. But it took about 5 months for me to get really comfortable. And then as time went on, I just, I got more and more, and I started interacting more with people. People that were commenting. Nate was one of them. Tops 85401. He commented, and then we linked up, and then it kind of got better from there. There was a channel, I tell you, there was a fantastic channel back then when I started. It was Iskafan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his channel.
I've heard his name. I've heard him.
Iskafan had a wonderful channel, man. I mean, this guy, reminded me of myself because he was so passionate about the history of baseball. And when he showed those videos, he would talk about, the players. And then when I saw that, I was like, that's a wonderful thing, man, because it's not about the big name. It's about who you saw, who you appreciated, why that person had such a profound impact on your life in baseball too. So I thought his channel was really, really wonderful, man. So watching his channel linked up with him, and it just kind of got better from there.
What about you, Alex?
I just want to say IFCA fan, ISCA fan. Anybody that's on YouTube, go look that channel up. It's still out there. You can go watch his videos. I remember watching that channel when I first started. And,
he still make videos, Alex?
No, he's not making them anymore.
But great stuff. And hitting your stride. I don't know, man. I think I would say there's a certain point when you kind of figure out what your pattern is. Like everybody has mail days, care packages, whatever. But for a while there, it was like just those 53-second videos for me. And then I started doing mail days. Man, I remember being really nervous about mail days, and which is really silly, right? Like what's there to be nervous about? But you kind of like get in your head about it. But after a while, it's like you just kind of get used to it, and you figure out how you go about it. And I came up with, like, for me, kind of similar to what Aaron's saying, like, I know I don't want to just show the card. I also want to talk about the player. And I also want to try to figure out, like, what is it that I find interesting about the card and put some kind of personal spin on it. And that's my personal preference. And so I've been trying to do that pretty much ever since I started. And, I would say, 3 to 4 months or so of it. After a while, it just becomes a habit. It's just like a routine.
I got to give you a shout out, man. Let me give Bowman 53 a shout out, man, because I really love his channel. He's fantastic. I love that spin, man. The coffee and the cards. It's wonderful, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Without a doubt. What about you, Gary? How long did it take you before you kind of felt comfortable doing what you're doing?
Probably, like I said, I watched for a couple years before I started doing things. It was probably harder to get in front of the camera. I still don't get in front of the camera too much, but I'm not a big fan of showing cards like this. So, but probably Tony, Psyched On Baseball Cards. After watching him, he probably started making me feel more comfortable because I really communicated with him a lot on his channel when I first started too. So I'd say Tony probably was the one that he didn't tell me to do it, but just watching him do his stuff made me realize, I can do it. That looks pretty easy. So I started doing it. So
this is a good question here by Don, if you all can see it. He goes,
Yeah.
I felt no one was going to find my cards interesting because I wasn't showing anything that people hadn't seen before. I think that's kind of, if you think about that, guys, especially like somebody like Aaron's channel, because he has a lot of variety on his channel. But Aaron probably could tell you that he's seen those same cards on 3 or 4 other channels in the last month. And, and that's just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. But I honestly think that you still, like what Aaron's going to say about, let's say, like a Jackie Robinson card is going to be different than what Alex will say about it, Yeah. And I think that's what brings people to the channels. And, tell me if I'm wrong or tell me what you think, because, you might be seeing the same cards over the course of a couple months, a lot of times popping up, but the presentation, maybe the way the people that have the connection maybe to the card or a story or even the player, or like in Aaron's case, sometimes he'll talk about his family and the connection. And so there's things that you're going to get at his channel that you're not going to get on my channel if I show like a Sandy Koufax or whatever. So to me, it kind of goes back to what Don was saying. Yeah, you might see the same cards a lot, but the presentation to me is a lot about this community and about what I love about the community.
Right. Well, I think like when you first got on YouTube, first it's about the cards, and you're just excited to see all these cards, and you can't believe, oh my gosh, like that person has the Hank Aaron rookie or whatever, right? And it's so cool to see them all. But after like a few months of it, it's like you've seen every card 3 or 4 times, and like that's not to be cynical. It's just like if you're watching a lot of channels, you're watching a lot of cards. Then it becomes about the people, right? It's like. And we always say that, right? Like the cards get us started, but eventually you make friendships. And so then it's like you're happy for whoever that just got this card that they really wanted for their collection, and like you feel good for them, and like that's what you're watching for. I mean, obviously you like to see the card too, but it's more about the individuals behind the channel that keeps you watching, I think.
Right. I think I asked that kind of similar question, Jace, on our last live stream, is what draws us to watch guys that are showing the same stuff that we're showing,
Right. I was going to ask you, Aaron, you, out of everybody in this group right here, I feel like you've hung out personally with quite a few people in your neck of the woods. You've done some meetups and groups and stuff. I obviously know you hang out with Nate. So obviously there's a strong sense of camaraderie and community with the guys who know each other off YouTube, Yeah. So when you all get together, or and you all obviously have maybe some similar collecting interests, and obviously some areas you all differ in, what is the one thing you all feel like that brings you all together, and when it's not the cards, like what do you look most forward to when you all get together?
Just conversation, man. Like Gary mentioned Tony. I mean, me and Tony hung out. We had beers together. So. Right. He's an awesome brother, man. I love that guy. And Nate, of course, I went and spent the whole entire weekend with Nate. Mm-hmm. And so it's just conversation, man. We get together, and sometimes it's not even about cards, it's just about life, What's your thoughts on 401k?
Right.
That's
deep, dude. That's a hot take right there.
So that a lot of that stuff goes on, man. And I'm very thankful, man, that those guys are a part of my life, man.
Right.
That's all part of the YouTube, being on YouTube, man.
For sure. And the crazy thing is that and I guess I could be wrong about this, Aaron, but you wouldn't know those guys if it wasn't for YouTube. You wouldn't know they even existed, right?
Right.
You know,
Right.
and we can say that about all four of us in this right here, talking to the guys in the chat to the side of us right now.
Yeah.
You know, none of us would even know we existed if it wasn't for this, you know, form of, you know, bringing us together, you know, the social media, whatever, you know, and I feel like it's an ability because, yeah, we all have our own lives outside of YouTube. At least I hope so. You know, you have families, you have friends, you have work, you have whatever, right? But,
Yep.
you know, the thing is, sometimes you can't share those experiences with those people because they don't have the same passion you do about maybe sports or about collecting. So you're able to kind of have that where you normally wouldn't have it, you know? And I think it goes back to the initial question I asked was, you know, it's more about the community and the relationships you build through this than it's about the cards. Like you said, I mean, you know, I could show a Pete Rose and you can show the same Pete Rose, but it's because I like what you have to say about us building that relationship that we've had over the course of years, commenting and supporting each other. And I think that, you know, it's hard to find that other areas of your life where people can feel that strongly about a passion you have and you all can share.
Yep. I agree, man. I talk to, you know, who I talk to a lot, just about every day, is Snoop. I talk to Snoop Xavier every day, man. I mean, it's not a day. He's calling me, I call him, and we, you know, a lot of times we be on the phone for 2 hours and we haven't even talked about one card.
You're just talking about his $30,000 boat.
You're talking about that boat. Right. So I mean, man, it's cool, man. It really is. I'm thankful for the whole YouTube thing, man. Never would have known these cats, man, if it wasn't for it.
Sure. So let me ask you this. I know you're in California, correct? I want to make sure I don't misspeak. Yeah. Okay. So for you, and right before you had gotten on, you might have heard us talk a little bit about it. I know I talked to Gary and Alex. Now, are you hopeful that in the next few months you're going to be able to go to live sporting events like maybe, you know, baseball or whatnot, or do you see in California they're going to be more restrictive than maybe other places? They're going to kind of hold out as long as they can.
No. I mean, I'm always hopeful, but the reality is the answer to that is no. I mean, they're not in California. It's really strict, man, and I don't see anything opening up at all. I mean, it's almost lockdown around here, man, where I am. You know, it's crazy when you get letters in the mail telling you that we're going to be locked, you know, we're going to be locked down, man, and no one's going to be able to come to the stores and stuff like that. You know, I've never seen that before, you know, when you get letters in the mail. But
I think it'll still be this way through the summer, Jay.
Yeah.
You know,
it's going to be tough, man. You know, matter of fact, I was talking to Nate earlier about that. And, you know, we're, you know, even though this pandemic thing is still going on, we're still going to try to get together, man, and try to, you know, figure something out where we can, you know, hang out, look at some cards and do whatever we do, you know. Sure.
I think that, you know, for people like in your all state and other places, you know, that probably, I don't know how you feel, but it's probably, you get like a cabin fever. You want to go out and kind of see some sports. You want to see some, like, you know, be able to get out there and, like, you know, participate or watch or whatnot. I know that for me, I'm so excited about baseball. But like Gary was saying, you know, maybe it won't be until the summertime. Maybe, you know, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part that Major League Baseball made it sound like they're going to open up the parks and they're going to let people go in. You know, there's going to be obviously a reduced amount.
Yeah, it'll be.
But maybe some of the states won't let them do it. Like you said, maybe like California, they're going to say you can't. We're not going to have it happen here. You can do it somewhere else.
Yeah. That's tough, man. It's tough right now. It really is. I mean, I'm
very much so.
Always hopeful, but I don't know.
And that's unfortunate. My inner Jason's crying right now. So that's.
Hey, Jason, I'm gonna bounce, buddy.
All right, man. I'll see you, Gary. Take care, brother.
See you, Gary.
See you guys.
See you, brother.
All right, take care.
Be good. Keep it legal. All right. So now it's down to 3. Now we can talk about Gary behind his back. So, I do want to ask you, Alex. So when it comes to, you had told me a little bit off camera, so I wanted to ask you. Then I know that Aaron could probably jump in on this. You said you're in the process of looking at some things that you want to add to your collection, and you know you don't want to jinx yourself. So let's talk about that. So when you see a card, because I know Aaron has a lot of fire that he brings to his channel, you do a lot of stuff like that on your channel. You maybe don't want to tip your hat, so to speak. We're all wearing hats right now. You don't want to tip your hat to the community because you don't have it in your possession yet, right? You don't want somebody coming in there and sniping you at the last minute. You'd be like, "You dirty son of a gun!" You know, I should never tell people about this card or about this thing. So, do you have that? Do you have that a little bit on you when you talk to even your friends or like YouTube on a channel that you don't want to show? You don't want to tip your hat too much because you don't want to be too excited that you end up shooting yourself in the foot, or you don't get that card or that ball or that whatever. Or do you just, or you just kind of like, well, I'll just throw it out there. I'll get it eventually.
I mean, it's funny because I've got a running list of stuff that I'm always after, and I myself don't even necessarily know until like right up to the moment when I spot it. And it's not like a spur of the moment thing. It's like it's a card or whatever that I've been looking at for months, maybe even years sometimes. But it's like, okay, I know, the condition sensitivity of the card or whatever it is, and I know that this is a good copy and it's a good price, and like this is what I've been waiting for. But that like comes up, in the spur of the moment, and so you've got like moments to react. So it's not like I'm sitting on it all day, like thinking about. I mean, sometimes I do, and I might like send it off to a friend and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a good copy, a good example, whatever?" Somebody that might be like really knowledgeable in that area. Like, say I'm looking at a pre-war card or something, I might reach out to like Enough Said Cards, for example. In that case, I might be kind of talking to people about it, but they're not going to go getting that card if they know I'm looking at it. At least I hope they won't, right?
All of a sudden, it shows up on Andrew's channel. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So, but most of the time, I'm just like, it's that moment where you're like, okay, this is it, and you got to do that gut check and decide, okay, I'm going to go for it. So.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
No, for me, man, I don't know, man. I just, I don't really, if I see something, I'm always talking to everybody about it, man. It's fair game, man. If you want it, so be it. It's all fair game. I don't care. But so, my whole collecting approach has completely changed, man. I'm telling you, it's totally different now, Jason. I don't, I used to be heavily into finding those sought out graded cards, and not anymore, man. I just I don't do it anymore. So as far as raw cards go, man, I just tell you, hey, most of the people I talk to, man, it's like, they don't care. It's like whatever.
So I think it's interesting. You're one of the few guys I know, Aaron, and I'm sure there's others, but that you make a mention of it quite a bit. Like, you get a lot of like relic cards. When people kind of shied away from relic cards, thinking they're kind of like, people call them like napkin cards, or they're like cards or there's jock straps and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. Pajama cards, where they're like they're in their pajamas. Sometimes it looks like some fabric from some like not a uniform. But I mean, it's one of those things that you highlight on your channel, which I think is great, because when you get some of these Hall of Famers or really rare cards, those relics look awesome. And you even make a mention on your most recent video how the relic really pops in that card. What drew you to the relic cards when everybody else was kind of poo-pooing on them, and you were kind of like not letting that sway you at all? You're like, you know what? Other people might be saying this is, I'm staying away from those relic cards, but you kind of went in on it pretty hardcore and continue to do so, it seems.
Yeah, this goes all the way back to the early part of late part of the 90s, early part of the 2000s. I've always been a relic collector, man. But just like you said, relics, they're not really sought after, but I love them, man. It's a piece of the game. It brings you closer to it. I always appreciated that. I like the way they look, the aesthetic parts of it. It's pretty cool, man, to find a a relic, piece of a bat or piece of a jersey of a player that you've watched. I mean, that nostalgic part of it alone, you can't put a price on that, man. To know that you got a jersey. I always say this about Sheffield. You know, I pick up a relic from Sheffield. Every time I hold a card that has a relic of his, I think back when I was eating cereal on the couch, watching him smash home runs out of the park. You know?
He's like,
you know, so how do you put a price on that, man? That's priceless, you know. So
right.
I will always collect relics, and now even more today, because these companies and products, man, have put out, you know, those cards. What do they call them? Bat knobs, you know. And I really get a kick out of that, man. I mean, that's fantastic, you know, to get a piece of a bat knob of a particular player you grew up watching, or a Hall of Famer that you admired that you never watched. So, you know, I think it's wonderful. I'll never stop doing that, man.
That's awesome. I think that's really a cool aspect of your channel, because, like I said, a lot of people either shy away from that, or they just don't highlight. They might buy them, but they just don't highlight them on their channel that often, you know. And I thought you're one of the very few guys that it's like a centerpiece of what you talk about is like, you know, how cool it is, like you said, have a piece of the game with you. This player was part of that game. You know, they had this on, they used this bat, they used the glove, whatever. It's super cool. I mean, I always thought it was a cool aspect of it, even though, like I said, it kind of became like not the cool thing to do for a while, but I always enjoyed that you did that.
You know, so, I tell you this, Jason, I think it's a great topic, too, to talk about, because that goes back to, you know, making videos and being intimidated or not sure if people are going to appreciate your video of what you show, you know, and sure. It's a shame, you know, you get on here, you don't have to have the big card. You don't have to have that, man. You come on here and you make a video, if you like it, then that's all that matters. You know, you come on here, show it and talk about it, man. It's a good thing. So that's a great topic to talk about. You know, what shies people away from showing what they really love to collect.
So Tyson,
you know, a lot of
on the stream. So hi, Tyson.
All right.
so let me.
Yeah, a lot of times the videos that are. We lost him.
He's just messing with us. There he is.
This is what happens when you have a 12-year-old. He's over here trying to, you know, photobomb me or whatever. So,
you know, I tell you this, Jason. Here's an interesting little story. I was in a card shop, right? And this all ties into what I'm trying to tell you, right? I was in a card shop and I was talking to a kid. And, you know, we were going through a box and I pulled out a card and it was a common player, you know, a common player. And I told this kid, you know, I said, this is a great card. And he goes, well, no, it's not Mike Trout. You know, it's not Mike Trout, so he's not important. That's what he told me. He's not important. And I think a lot of times what happens here with making videos, sometimes we want that buy-in, you know. So what do you got to do to get the buy-in? At least this is people's thoughts. What do we got to do to get the buy-in? And the buy-in, well, we got to have that card that everybody wants to have. Right. And who's the big name in the market right now? The big name is the Mike Trouts, you know, and the Mickey Mantles and you know, all that stuff. So anything outside of that is irrelevant to some folks, you know, and I think that's a shame. You know, I think that, you know, there's a lot of history, because here's the thing that happens, and I love this every time, is that I can pick up a card and I say, right, well, you love Mickey Mantle, right? Well, let me tell you a story about Joe Blow, how he impacted Mickey Mantle's life. And you know, that could have been a reason why Mickey Mantle, you know, was so great. You know, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to learn about somebody that had a profound impact in Mickey Mantle's life? I think that'd be wonderful, but that's not, you know, again, that's not going to get you the views. The views are going to get you when you put this big card up there and you say, right, Mike Trout 1 of 1 or something, then everybody's going to flock to your channel. You understand?
I'm going to do that on every channel now moving forward. Every video, I'm going to put Mike Trout 101.
So right. So, yeah, but again, it's a great topic to talk about, man, because you don't need that. You don't need that. Just come on and make videos. People are going to find you, and you know, they're going to love you like, you know, the rest of them, the rest of the channels.
And then and I think you do this as well, but Alex does this probably better than anybody I know, is that, like you said, he talks about individuals in that 53 Bowman set that how they affected other people. Like you said, like they might have a pitcher who might have went up against Stan Musial or Monty Irvin or whatever. And like that moment, you know, and you would not know that about Joe Blow, like you said, if there wasn't for these guys like Alex out there highlighting that. And you know, and then to kind of carry on, another thing is, you know, Aaron, you can get on there and let's say you talk about Don Drysdale, right? You can talk about Don Drysdale all day long, but guess what? You could be saying the same thing about Don Drysdale that somebody else said about Don Drysdale or whatever. But the thing that I find interesting is that when you show about Don Drysdale, but then you talk about another aspect of Don Drysdale, not just the card, but about a moment that you have with that card or with that player, or how maybe he brings it in with Sandy Koufax, and you're adding other aspects to it. You know, that to me is a lot more powerful of a card channel or a community than just throwing slabs like nonstop, just slab, and then I don't get anything from that, like, you know. But you're talking about the bigger picture, and I think that's great. And because if you're going to a channel and everybody's talking about Mickey Mantle, but you're not going to a channel and they're like talking about, like you said, how these other players affected Mickey Mantle and how that made Mickey Mantle even a better player, that's called the history of the game. That's when you're invested in understanding more than just the highlight reel of a player.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why I love your channel. I love your channel, man, because that whole 1953 set, man, is just so full of so much history. I mean, you take a guy here. Here's the thing: you take a guy like Bob Keegan. All right, you know who I'm talking about. He's in that 53 set, right?
Yeah.
Did you know Bob Keegan threw a no-hitter? Like, who's Bob Keegan? And you look around, you start talking to people about these guys that are in these different sets. Then the set becomes even something more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and that's why I love it, man, when you do the coffee and cards, man. It's fantastic.
Right. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, part of the fun of collecting that set was, like, majority of it was common cards. And by the time I finished that set, my knowledge of, like, 1950s baseball was way more, like, in depth than it was when I started. Like, when I started, I knew who Mickey Mantle was and Stan Musial and, you know, the obvious guys. But by the end of it, it's like I know all these interconnecting stories between these guys, and it's like, what's the value of that? Well, the value of that is I love the game of baseball and I love the history behind it. And, like, now when I look at those cards, all of that stuff is part of my enjoyment of those cards. It's not just the card itself. I mean, you know, I'm happy to have the card, but it's like I'm also just really enjoying the history behind it too. So, like, it makes the enjoyment of the hobby to me, like, so much more than just looking for the cards.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're talking about the Hall of Famers and the superstars, but I want to ask you and Alex and you, Aaron, that when you were a kid growing up, who was the one or two players that you really looked up to playing baseball? You know, who were the players that you really liked, that you followed, that you really wanted to watch, whatever? Who were those players? Because not all of us grew up with Mickey Mantle. Not all of us grew up with Sandy Koufax. You know, that's great. That's wonderful. That might be more of our parents' generation, Hank Aaron, the Willie Mays, and all that. But who did you, like, get excited about watching as little Aaron Davis?
Oh, man, I got to tell you, man, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, man, and I was spoiled. I was spoiled with so many great players, man. I got to tell you, probably, I would say if I had to choose just one player that I was thrilled to see all the time, man, probably was Doc Gooden. I mean, Doc Gooden was freaking amazing, man. Him and Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn was another guy that just would just light up the plate, man. I mean, that guy, come on, he was a for sure hit every time. You knew what you were going to get. And Doc Gooden, man, I'm telling you, that guy was something special, man. When that guy took the mound, he was on another level, man. Just the heat and stuff that he used to throw, man. You'd be sitting there like, how the hell did he do that? You know, sure. It was wonderful to watch him pitch, man. And there's so many other guys, but I think those two guys probably stand out to me the most back then. I was most thrilled to see them.
Right.
What about you, Mr. Bowman 53?
Yeah. Well, for me, I grew up a Phillies fan, still am. And back in the 80s, there wasn't much to be excited about.
Right.
But we had the guy at third base. We had Mike Schmidt, and I remember going to the vet several times with my dad, and sitting on the third base side, and like that's what I was watching the whole game. Like, forget the game. I'm just gonna watch Mike Schmidt and like watch what he does, like from play to play. And I like have vivid memories of watching him. And I remember my dad saying like, "Okay, like this is history. Like we're watching this like incredible player. We all know this guy's going to the Hall of Fame." I'll never forget that. Like that's like burned in my memory from growing up.
It's awesome, man. I got a story too. I got a story, man. This is funny, man.
No, go for it.
I remember this is 1979, right? 1979. My father gave me a pack of cards in 1979. I opened it and I had a Ozzie Smith in there. I got a nice Ozzie Smith rookie. So I took that card and I put it in my spokes of my bike. I put it in there, so you could get that right. And my dad comes home, right? My dad comes home. He says, "What the hell are you doing?" I says, "Well, Dad, look, I wanted to hear that noise." And he says, "What noise?" I said, and it went around the spokes. And he says, "Look, son," he says, "Son, you can't do that with that." He says, "Look, that guy that you put in there is going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, and that card may be worth something. He's a great ball player, and you should learn to appreciate that." From that day on, man, I swear I never put a damn card in the spokes again, man.
That's awesome. Oh man, just think of how many parents would have told that to their kids back in the 50s and 60s. How many more cards would survive possibly that didn't get like destroyed. So my dad, I don't know how old your parents were or what their heyday was. My dad grew up in the 50s and he would tell me about that. Like you said, he would rip open Bowman packs and Topps packs, and then it was never like there was never like the schmuck, the guy that no one knows about. Like my dad always be like, "Well, I used to put the Ernie Banks cards in there and the Don Drysdale, I would put the Mickey Mantles in my spokes." And I'm like, why would you put the best guys in the spokes? Like, I don't get it. Like, why not the guy that no one's ever heard of? Like the guy with the unibrows and all this stuff from the 50s cents, Like, put that guy in there. But I don't get it. But yeah, it's so funny about that. Yeah.
Too funny, man. Yeah. Yeah, they used to crack me up, man. Their thing was they used to collect a lot of the Negro League artifacts, gloves and balls and things like that. But they really were big. My dad was a big Hot Wheel collector.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's how I tell you, he gave me an old original mailbox truck, and he told me to put that. I still have it today, man. I never opened it. I wanted to, but I didn't. I kept it in there, and it's still in the same condition as when he gave it to me. But yeah, they were big collectors, man. And I just tell you, the look on his face, that was enough for me never to put anything in a spoke again, man.
Right. We all probably seen that from our fathers at some point in time, where it's like, not to ever do that again, because next time it won't be a conversation. It's going to be a butt whooping more than likely.
Yeah,
So that's hilarious. So now that you're an adult, now we're all three adults. I know Alex just hit 21 this past week. He just became a man. He could that's so great.
Wow.
Like, who do you get excited about watching now playing baseball? I know all three of us watch baseball. I don't. Some of us, the way we collect, obviously, we're gonna be different. Like, Alex isn't buying brand new product off the shelves. I don't really see you buying a lot of brand new stuff either, Aaron. Maybe you do. You don't show it a lot, maybe. But I know we're watching the game. So who do you get excited about right now over the last couple of years? Like, guys that you think maybe Hall of Famers, superstars, I don't care who they are. Who are you excited about watching? Like, you stop what you're doing and watch them, whether hitting or pitching or whatever.
Yeah, for me, man, I'm a big pitcher guy. I love pitchers, man. So, I mean, I really get excited when I see, Clayton Kershaw. I like Kershaw's pitching. I like the young hauler too, Walker Buehler. I also like Cole Ham. I like Cole Hamels. I think that I think he's going to get into the Hall at some point. Max Scherzer. I love watching him. Another great pitcher, and the young stud over there at the Mets, man, DeGrom has got some wicked stuff, man. Yeah, he's pretty darn good, man. And so those are guys that I really get excited to watch. When they're out there playing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I'm trying to put together an autographed baseball collection of pitchers, so I'm always paying attention to those guys. And like Aaron Nola, I love watching Aaron Nola pitch. He's got a lot of good stuff. So that's the first name that comes to mind right now for me.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Do you have an Aaron Nola autograph ball?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you did, but I couldn't remember. So. What about hitters then? Just to kind of throw it out there. Obviously, you all talked about pitchers there. Is there a hitter or a guy who the way they play the field that you really get excited about the way they play? Like they really hustle, they really play hard. When they're at the plate, they don't give up the piddly little hits. Like they really try to get in there and they fight for every hit they get.
Juan Soto is definitely entertaining to watch. Even just like coming up to the plate, like just the way he interacts with the catcher. Like he's just a presence, even if he doesn't do anything, he's just a presence at the plate.
Yeah, I like Lindor, man. I think Lindor, man, is a fantastic ball player too. I mean, there's other guys out there too.
Sure.
But I like Lindor. I like his play, man. I like his attitude, approach to the game. So that's a guy that awesome. I pay attention to. Yeah.
So let me ask you, I know you're a Gary Sheffield collector. We might even dare say super collector, possibly. What was it about Sheffield that really stuck in your mind? Because you said you've been watching, and paying attention to baseball since you were a kid in the 70s. Obviously, Sheffield shows up in 1990, I believe. So it wasn't like he was like a childhood hero of yours, So what was it about Sheffield that just got you excited about seeing him play that as an adult now you collect his cards?
That's a great question, man. For me, it probably started late 89 and into 90. Sheffield was kind of a dual athlete, man. That guy could have played football, ran track. He could have did it all, But the thing I liked about this guy was his attitude, man. I didn't see anybody like a Sheffield. This guy could go out there and back up what he was saying, And when he didn't think something was right, he would express it,
Right.
So I was intrigued by that, I was like, God, this guy's the truth, one of those type of he's the truth, So when I start watching him, continue to play through the 90s, man, I just saw something in this guy. I said, this guy can hit, man. This guy's an offensive machine, man. And I never stopped watching him. You taking me back now, Deckers. I used to get this big old bowl of Frosted Flakes, man. I'll be on the couch and be eating them all just waiting for the ball just to go out of the stadium, man. Go on, Chef. I used to go, Chef.
That's awesome.
So, man, it was good times, man. And then what brought it home to me, I got a chance to meet Sheffield one time, and a lot of times people used to say that Chef was one of those guys that was kind of difficult to deal with. He was not really friendly, so to speak. But I found it to be the total opposite, man. The guy was friendly as hell, man. I mean, signed the ball, shook a hand, talked about 15 minutes, and it was great, man. Didn't have that type of experience, man. My respect level went even higher for him, so I just kept collecting them.
Sure. Now, if he didn't do that, maybe it would have changed possibly, huh? If he was kind of dismissive.
Honestly, I don't think it would. I don't think it would have, because I just figured that's the kind of guy maybe he was. He was a straightforward, straight talk type of guy. So
that's true. And I kind of think, when I think of Sheffield, because I was a teenager when Sheffield was like really blowing up, and like you said, he came up to the plate like he knew that there's a high likability that he was going to do something. Like he had that much confidence in his ability, and it kind of goes back to what Alex was saying about Juan Soto. It's like I feel like Juan Soto has a little bit of that swagger. Like he's gonna walk up there, and he has a feeling that something can happen at that plate. Now he doesn't have nowhere near the longevity yet, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm comparing, but he has an attitude of like confidence when he goes up to that plate. And I think, like you said about Sheffield, no one really has seen anybody like Sheffield before, I don't think. I mean, that a guy that came up there and, like you said, back up what he was saying. Like, he wasn't up there. We have so many athletes who like to talk a big game, but then when it comes to game time, they don't perform. But Sheffield, I mean, all the way to the end of his career, was a danger at the plate. I mean, you don't want to sleep on Sheffield.
No, man. He was incredible, man. I mean, 509 home runs, man. 9-time All-Star, man. I mean, the guy wasn't the best defensive player,
right?
But let me tell you something, man. When the guy came to the plate, you knew what you were going to get.
Right.
He was going to get you a hit, man. You could bank on it.
Right, most definitely. Now, Alex, do you have somebody that you used to watch a lot like that, maybe that you really, maybe I don't know if I want to say followed and like collect, because I know that's not really your style with the way you collect, but somebody that really just kind of like enamored you as a kid or whatnot that you thought was really cool?
I mean,
John Kruk?
It's tough. Well, I was gonna say, like, with the Phillies, man, like it's hard to pick somebody because there's like a lot of turnover in the 80s and 90s. But I love that 92 team. That was a scrappy team. John Kruk, Lenny Dykstra, all those guys, they were a lot of fun to watch. And what I loved about those guys, and I think those were the kinds of players I enjoyed watching, was they weren't big names. They didn't get the accolades, but boy, they were fun to watch because they just enjoyed the game. And I still think those are some of the best teams to watch. It was like those scrappy teams that they just make it work.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about my 1990 Cincinnati Reds. It's like, aside from like maybe Larkin and like Eric Davis, there wasn't a whole lot of names on that team that you would even think about nowadays. And they won that World Series, and everybody was shocked. They just all kind of came together. But if you're outside of the Cincinnati area, you probably couldn't even think of like 5 people on that team. But it's pretty cool that you can think about those things in your life where certain teams or games or even a season really sticks out in your head because of what they had done on the field or whatnot. So let me ask you, Aaron, I mean, real quick, obviously you're a big fan of football as well. You show football cards on your channel. You might have talked about this before and I just missed it. Is there a specific team that you're a bigger fan of that you really follow more than anything else, or do you just like football in general?
No, I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan.
Oh wow, Dolphins!
I don't like the new Dolphins, but I am a Dolphin. I am a Dolphins fan. Been a Dolphin fan, since I can remember. But I don't like the new Dolphins, but I love football, man. The funny thing is, my collection, is my football collection might be even a little bigger than my baseball collection.
Wow!
I played more football than I did. Baseball growing up, man. I love football, man, and I remember my favorite player, man, was Earl Campbell. I tried to play like that guy. I wanted to run people over, you remember he came into the scene, man, back in '79, man. I had never seen anything like it in my life, man. You had to imagine a 200 and something pound guy running, a 4.2, 4.3, man, and just, can you imagine that much weight coming at you, that much speed, man? He was just running people over. And a matter of fact, he ran everybody over on my Dolphins team, which was just crazy. If you look back on a Monday night game, man, I mean, the Houston Oilers versus the Dolphins, he killed us. He rushed for over 200 something yards on us, man. It was brutal, man. So I had a lot. He was one of my favorite players growing up, man.
That is awesome. So I guess he would probably be one of the first ones that really did that. It sounds like a guy that big, been able to do that kind of damage on the field. Maybe that wasn't happening very often before that.
No, he wasn't the first, but these guys that I'm talking about were before my time. I mean, you had some great running backs. You had Larry Zonka. Larry Zonka was a brutal runner that was, that came back out in the 68, knows that area, 69. He was a punishing running back. You had, you even had, if you go further back than that, you had Marion Motley. Mary Motley could have played in today's game. He came out in 1949, 1950. He was a 6'2", 200-something, pound back. That was just, people were bouncing off him like popcorn, back then. So, that was another big back. And then, there was all kind of guys like that, going through the 60s and the 70s, man. So, yeah.
That's awesome. With Alex, I was going to let me ask you this. So is there a player that you, while you're going through your 53 Bowman sets, is there a player that you thought by doing some research and looking them up, you think they would be able to translate that to a modern day game? Is there a guy that you think that could play modern day? Because Aaron kind of alluded to it with some of those old timer football players. Like that guy can still play nowadays. I think we always say a lot of these older generation guys could not play now because the game's changed so much. Is there anybody you think that could play?
I mean, it's hard to say because the game has changed so much so quickly. I mean, there are guys that are like, I mean, no name comes to mind like right off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at some stats, but like, I mean, the expectation at the plate is so different. The speed that they have to deal with is so different. The shift that they have to deal with, like I'm just thinking about, somebody at the plate. They'd have to like really get their bearings. It might take them a few months, hypothetically, to even be able to deal with it because it's just the game is so different. So
what do you think about that, Aaron? Do you think there's nobody that would, let's say with baseball, there's not somebody from the past that would be successful nowadays?
Oh yeah, I think a couple of people come to mind. I mean, you think about somebody that had fantastic mechanics. I take like a Bob Feller. Bob Feller had tremendous mechanics, and the guy was brilliant. He was smart at the plate, man. And, he had an unbelievable fastball that could compete with today's game. So when I think of guys like that may be able to compete. But the other question is, do we think that a guy from today, if we put him back in the system back then, could survive? That would be, a more interesting question. I can tell you the truth.
That is true.
Take Barry Bonds and put Barry Bonds back in the 50s. I think it wouldn't be fair. I think Bonds would have probably 200 home runs. I kid you not, man. It'd be ridiculous, man. But yeah, those guys come to mind. Warren Spahn was another guy. I think that could compete, man. I mean, these are guys that really studied the game. And keep in mind that these guys were pitching the whole game, not just 4 or 5 innings, man. That these guys would go out and pitch, and when they wasn't pitching doing their regular jobs in the MLB, they were barnstorming. So these guys were pitching all year long, man. So I think definitely they could compete today, man.
That's a good observation, and it's kind of cool to think about players nowadays flipping the script and having them go back in time and seeing if they could compete or whatever. Because you always hear those arguments like, well, Babe Ruth did this in 2021, it wouldn't be the same guy, or Ty Cobb or Hank Aaron or whatever. But it's like it is interesting to think it was the other way around.
Right,
can these guys do that?
Like your guy would have been fine, like Ichiro. I think he would have been just fine back in the day.
I think he's one of those guys that would be like one of the ones that you could put him in any era, and he would be able to be successul.
Yeah, because he had an idea of what he was doing, no matter what the situation was.
Right.
Now, did you ever watch him play before, Aaron? Did you ever watch him play live while you were out there on the West Coast?
Who, Ichiro?
Yeah.
I never watched him play live. No, just television. Yeah, I never got a chance to see Ichiro play.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I got to take off.
I was getting ready to say the same thing, so you beat me to it. But I want to thank you both, Alex and Aaron. Thank you so much for hanging out.
A lot of fun.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we'll do it again.
See you guys.
See you now.
Peace.
Bye.